Alright, so welcome everyone. Again, my name is Paige Lawrence and I'm an outreach and engagement specialist for CT Rides. And I have with me today Kathy Gross in the back of the room from CT Transit. As she mentioned, I'll talk about everything here that has to do with CT Rides and CT Transit, and then we'll have like a question and answer in the end. So, what is CT Rides? First of all, has anyone heard of CT Rides, I hope?
Sure.
Okay, good. That's a good start. So, it's a free service of the Connecticut Department of Transportation, and it was put in place because we're trying to reduce traffic and carbon emissions. And it also helps with recruitment and retention. So that's a great, and I'll talk more about that as we go on. Typically, we partner with organizations to establish their own commuter programs. We're also branching out to help residents all across Connecticut. We have a team of 5 of us right now. We're working on a 6th. And we're trying to find better and less stressful, more economical ways for people to get to work in any destination, really. You can even use it on the weekend to get to entertainment venues and things like that. So as we all know, commuting can be challenging. None of us are strangers to traffic and congestion, and it really can be stressful by the time you get to your destination. The price of gas has made the cost of commuting really difficult for a lot of people, so they're trying to find alternative ways to get to work. As I said, the health and stress is a huge factor when you're sitting in traffic. You know, it's not healthy to be sitting in traffic for double the time that a normal commute would take. And of course, there's the environmental concerns. In Connecticut, 38% of all greenhouse gases come from transportation. We're not doing very well, and we have to work hard together to reach our 2050 goals to reduce carbon emissions. So some of your transportation options you've all heard of course, there's the bus. So CT Transit has a trip planner. This is a great place to start, very easy to use. You just put your starting point and your destination into the trip planner, and it'll give you all the bus routes along the way, even in connecting services. Now I want you all to know that I have exciting news. You might have heard also that the free bus fare has been extended into the end of March 2023. So that's great news for everyone. But typically when the bus fare isn't free, there's 10-day tickets and there's 31-day passes that people can purchase. They can use cash, but of course with cash, you don't get change. So it's nice to have a ticket or pass, or even the GoCT card. This pamphlet will tell you how to order your GoCT card, how to upload money to the card. You put $10 on the card to get started, and you always keep money on your card. It's a tap card, and it's a fare capping system. So when we don't know if there's fare charging again, this is a good option for people to use. So it looks like this right on the front here. And you just walk on the bus, tap, and it's a nice contactless way to pay your fare. As for the rail, the CTDOT supports 3 main lines. There's the Hartford line, Shoreline East, and also the New Haven line. The New Haven line goes from New Haven to New York City, Grand Central Terminal. And there are 3 branch lines that go to New Canaan, Danbury, and Waterbury. There's also the Shoreline East, which goes exactly where it sounds like it goes, which is along the shoreline. I've taken that train many times. It's very relaxing. If you want a nice train ride going somewhere, that's the one to take. And also the Hartford line goes from New Haven to Springfield, and the Shoreline East and the Hartford line have connecting service in New Haven. So that's a great option for people. As I mentioned, that CT Transit has the trip planner, so does CT Rides. This is a great way to find not only, how to take the bus or the train, but also to find someone to ride share with in a carpool or van pool. When you go on our trip planner, which is found at CT Rides, Commuter, under Commuters, you can click on it, find a ride share, bike share, there's park and ride information, you can find charging stations, and it's just a great wealth of information if you need any of those services. And of course, the other transportation option is biking and walking. And what is better for your health than biking and walking? And people do it. Some people do it year-round, which I was pleasantly surprised to hear. So we have an interacting ride matching tool, and it gives you access to thousands of rewards. In the slides that are coming up, I will talk more about that. But right now, I wanted to touch on the Emergency Ride Home program. This is one of my favorite features of the CT Rides program. It provides anyone who is an employee of a participating organization, is in a carpool or van pool, or takes transit, they can take an Uber, Lyft, or taxi up to 4 times a year, up to $200 per trip. They don't have to sign up. The company organization would just have to give me their approval so we can put their company name on our website, on our Emergency Ride Home page under participating organizations. And the only reason for this is when someone takes an emergency ride home, they save the receipt, and this is for reimbursement purposes only. It's very easy, and the turnaround time is about 24 hours. It's really beneficial because if someone is considering a carpool or van pool, they'll say, well, you know what, I don't know that I can do this. My child's in daycare, what if they get sick? What am I going to do? Well, the Uber, say you take an Uber, they can take you to the daycare, they can take you to the park and ride, wherever you need to go. We want to make sure that people have that kind of in their back pocket as something that will get them where they need to be so they can continue their carpool and van pool. There's a transit trial pass program that if anyone hasn't taken the bus or train before, we can provide them with a free ticket to give it a try. And of course, right now it's free, so this is the time. And we always have live support available on our website. There's several ways to reach our customer supports center, and also, of course, CT Transit has plenty of ways to reach them as well, which I think there's information at the bottom of the handout. Just if you visit our websites, and you could talk about your custom commute plans. So this is that trip planner that I was talking about. You can join on our website, or you can just download our CT Rides app, and it looks just like the logo in the upper left corner there. And of course, this is where you find your carpool or van pool with other members. There's other information like biking and walking sites that you can connect to, and there's a lot in this one ride-sharing app that is very beneficial. Here is a way to record your trip. Like I might say to someone, well, carpooling, you can get rewards. When you join the program, you get 1,000 points, and they get put towards rewards as a thank you from the DOT for taking a greener commute. And every time you track a green trip, you get more points, and then you can spend them on rewards online, and they'll be local. So once you have your information there, they'll be local. You'll have restaurants, coffee shops, that sort of thing. If you don't want to spend them that way, there are also raffles that you can enter, which is kind of fun. So this is not for everybody, but it's a nice perk to offer employees. Oh, and this is how you would save a commute if you didn't want to every day get up, oh, I have to, enter my green commute today so I can get my points. You can set it and forget it. So you can call it like commute to work. You can choose your mode, which is carpool or van pool, teleworking, whatever mode you're using. And then it'll just remind you every few months. You'll get an email to say, are you still tracking? And it'll, just so they know you're still interested in doing this. And here's an example of some of the some of the rewards that you can get. There's pizza, there's grills, like I said, coffee shops. There's a lot of things for kids, amusement parks, aquariums. So it's really great. You can go to ctrides.agilmile.com and join there today. Another thing about ride sharing is you say, well, I do love this idea, but what if I don't like who I'm riding with, you know? This is a way to refine your match, right? I could never be with a smoker, I just couldn't do that. So you can choose, I don't want a smoker, whether you are vaxxed or unvaxxed, you want to wear a mask, you don't mind, whatever gender, you can choose language, and you also put in your departure and return times and what days you would like to commute with someone, and then it'll show you points on the map from your starting location and your destination of other people going along your route. You can click on that and then you can chat with them and see if you can work something out, where you might be able to meet, a park and ride. Unfortunately there's no don't talk to me before I've had coffee button, but the good news about this is that you can say, hey, you know what, we're not a match, let's not keep doing this. So yeah, so you can choose, you can start, end at any time. It's all for your benefit. So my team and I do a Drive Less Connecticut Challenge every May. You'll probably start hearing more and more about this as CT Rides gets even more popular. But this shows the impact just in May 2022, how many pounds of emissions were prevented. That's amazing. But like to see it in the miles saved, the car trips eliminated, and for many people the money saved really hits home. And the gallons of gas, especially like I said with the price of gas these days, look, this is a great way for anyone to save money. Even if you don't need it, you never know. You could say, well, I could save it for a trip or something. So since our inception, these are some facts that we've recorded about how many miles not driven, and 98,282 tons of emissions were prevented. Now, I do have my phone in my hand for a reason. It's a little bit of a cheat sheet because I was talking to someone who is very environmentally conscious. He wants to help in any way that he can. He's a solar panel guy, I love it. But he even said, that's great, 98,282 tons of emissions are prevented. I love the number, but even I'm not sure, what does that really translate into? So I just have some numbers here to just kind of put it in even more of layman's terms. So over 17,000 homes electricity use for 1 year. That's what this is equivalent to. Over almost 11 billion smartphones charged, which I'm sure we can all appreciate, right? And this is equivalent to greenhouse gas emissions avoided by over 30,000 tons of waste recycled instead of landfilled, over 3 million trash bags of waste recycled instead of landfilled, over 3 million incandescent lamps switched to LEDs, and this is also the equivalent to carbon sequestered by about 1,500,000 tree seedlings grown for 10 years, and over 105,000 acres of U.S. forests in 1 year. So it just goes to show you that anything we do makes an impact, a positive impact, even if you do this 1 day a week. Even if it's a weekend thing, little changes, maybe you decide to carpool with someone somewhere to go to an event, whatever you can do to help. We're all in this together. We need to do better, and we need to do our part in Connecticut. And I'm just excited to see what can happen. So I hope you all consider even 1 day a week, and be sure to share the information with everybody. There is a bus information that is on the table that you can even take a picture of and share with people that you know. Everyone can download who takes green trips can download the CT Rides app and use it. And so yeah, it's all good stuff. We are now on the questions and answer section, but I wanted to let you know if something isn't answered here for you today, or you want to reach out, you can reach out to CT Transit at cttransit.com or CT Rides. Again, our customer service people are available to help you. So does anyone have any questions? Okay. Oh, wait, I don't know who. You want to go first? You can go first. You can go first.
Oh, me?
Yeah. You know, I don't know, it's a tie.
I was just wondering, do you feel that there's good access to your most rural communities to participate in this program?
It's a little tricky.
And if not, what are you looking at ways to try to reach further?
So there's I2 Systems in Morris, for an example, and they don't have any bus access out there. So what we do is we try to teach them about, carpooling. A lot of people actually do carpool out there already, so we help them any way we can. I'm a big fan, just personally, of collecting information about those areas, and also through my work, because I was in Greater Stamford for 4 years, and I worked and I visited a lot of industrial parks, and they would struggle here too with recruitment and retention because they didn't have any bus service, especially after hours, different shifts, and it's hard for me because I have a soft spot in my heart for people obviously who want to get to work. We need to make a living, we need to put food on the table, we need to pay our bills. So I always try, and I'm actually working on a project with the town of Berlin to get a bus stop over at the end of New Park Drive. So I'm crossing my fingers on that. We'll see what happens.
Right.
We spoke to CT Transit. It's on the top of their mind for 2023, but we can only do what we can do. There's money's an issue and things like that sometimes, but I collect information and I like to bring it back to the DOT.
So are you funded through the state or?
DOT.
DOT.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot.
Go ahead. Oh, my question, does CT Rides also help get rides with Amtrak?
The only crossover is between CT Rail and CT Transit. I know they have a Bus Plus ticket that you can get. I don't believe that's offered in conjunction with Amtrak. The only thing they do in conjunction with Amtrak is that I know that some of the Hartford line routes that run north, sometimes people can hop on the Amtrak Vermonter, which also goes to like Windsor and Windsor Locks. And I believe that they can use that line as well if they're with a CT Rail ticket. Well, CT Rail, so like CT, the Hartford line, Hartford line and Shoreline East and CT Transit are actually all under the DOT umbrella. But Metro North is actually run by MTA, which is actually a different agency, so there's not a lot of, they try to coordinate, but they're actually like two different entities. So it kind of makes it hard to have crossover between the two. So basically a lot of the times it comes down to CT Transit adjusting the bus times to try to match train arrival times, but that's really about it. So like ticket crossover is very...
Yeah, I know there's something there.
Yeah.
Get back to you. Yes.
So the purchase of the Go CT card could be used for CT Transit, and I can also use it for CT Rail and CT Fast Track. Is that applicable?
You can only use the CT Go CT card for CT Transit and CT Fast Track.
Okay.
You can't use it on rail. Not yet.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, so on the app, it mentioned you had mentioned something about charging stations. Is there a map of where the charging stations are?
So if you go into the trip planner on ctrides.com, you can click, there's like little, like a list on the left, you can click charging station, it'll show little lightning bolts everywhere they are. Okay. Same way like with the park and ride station, so it's really good. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
My question piggybacks off of his question as far as adding more buses throughout the day into maybe early evening, but certainly throughout the day. And then my other question was, are you connected at all with the DATCO, with those buses?
So, okay, I'll answer the DATCO question first. So DATCO is a company operated out of New Britain, and so they actually have like domain over certain routes. So DATCO actually operates a lot of the CT Transit routes that are in the New Britain area. So I think like the 41, that's like Hartford New Britain route, that's operated by DATCO with the CT Transit buses. So CT Transit is actually state-owned, DATCO is actually a private company. So depending upon where the buses are traveling to in that area, they could be operated by DATCO. So it's just it's actually an issue of eminent domain because they had rights to that transportation area before the state came in and established Connecticut Transit. Does that answer your question? And then as far as adding routes, and that's something that we actually continuously work on. So I know that we do a thing called a bid. It's about 3 or 4 times a year. And it's basically, we actually review all of the routes, all of the service, and then that's when we decide if we're going to be adding or subtracting service based on ridership, cost, and what we have for equipment and drivers. So it's something that we review, 3 to 4 times a year based on what we see as a need. If you would like to see service get added, we actually have a form on our website that goes directly to our planning and customer service department. I believe it's called, I think it's called customer feedback. So if you go to our homepage and then go under customer feedback, there's actually a form that you can fill out, state, what your concerns are or what improvements you'd like to see, and you can submit that. Yes.
I did that already,
You did?
and I didn't get a response.
Oh, no.
And this just affects me, I don't know if anyone else in this building, but for 31 years, I've been riding the 69 route to West
Okay.
Hartford.
Yeah.
Very convenient. Inexplicably, they changed the route when it gets downtown so that it stops on Buckingham a block too soon and goes around the park and over to Pearl Street.
Okay.
It cuts 3 stops out. But more importantly, federal employees,
Right.
people going to the public library, people going to Yukon, Hartford,
Okay.
they're now up on Central Road
Okay.
rather than get dropped here. And there was never any explanation, and so I wrote something and
No answer. Okay.
No answer.
I don't know why they made the change. I can look into that for you if you'd like.
that would be wonderful.
So if you want to, afterwards, if you'd like to give me your email address, I
That'd be
can
great.
check.
Thank you.
Okay?
Oh, one other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if this applies to other people, and actually, because the buses are free, I presume we'll get it back when they're no longer free. But my agency basically pays for the bus pass. They have a system to do that. So if anyone's hesitant about that, it's going to cost me $63 a month. If your agency participates in that, it won't.
Yeah. Ours does. Yeah, check with your HR departments. Usually that's managed by the HR department.
Yeah, we have a commuter tax benefit that we can talk to you about. We have a resident expert on that subject, Larry Filler, and he loves talking about it, and you can get, I believe that's what you're talking about, right? The commuter tax benefit, or is it something totally different?
No, it's
Just like, is it subsidized?
Okay.
yeah,
okay.
so I
Okay.
get like a debit card that they put $63 on every month, and I go to the kiosk and
Oh,
And get
okay.
a
Okay,
31
day
that's
pass.
sort of like this too.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be through your employer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, I had the impression all federal agencies participate, but I don't know.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
They administer a program, but they administer it differently, but it's
But I think you probably have to ask about it, right? I don't think they just outright. do they-
Yeah, so you have to apply for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apply, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So piggyback this question, so a lot of folks in this office actually take the bus and we have transit benefit cards to
Okay.
pay for the Go CT, but now because it's free, folks are having difficulties recharging the cards because
Yes.
they're saying we're not offering it, it's free till like,
Oh, okay.
so,
Yes.
and there's some time limit within these debit cards. If you don't use it within 6 months, you get inactivated and you get kicked off and you have to reapply.
Okay, so the debit card, is the debit card the Go CT card, or
No,
is it a
it's
separate
it's
card?
a separate transit benefit card that our federal agency provides to the employee.
Oh, okay,
And then we use that card to recharge the Go CT card.
okay.
And so we've been trying to, but a lot of the kiosks, folks saying you can't do it. We go online, we try to recharge it, it says we're not accepting payments because it's free. And so folks are worried that their cards are gonna get dormant after 6 months and then they're gonna get kicked off the transit benefit.
Does the card have to be used for
Correct,
transit? So
yes.
it's not like you can divert it to something else?
Correct.
Okay, it's not like a benefit card?
Yeah,
Okay,
no, you
okay.
can't use it for parking, you only use it
It's
for
only-
what you apply for in your application, your trips.
Oh, okay, and then there's no way you can put a hold on that through the employer?
You can, yes, so folks will just do the minimum, like $10, she'll try to put it just to keep the card active over
Okay.
the time, but
I
right
mean,
now, it's not.
yeah, I know, and I've heard of people having issues where like they can't load anything else onto the Go CT card, and I think that's a combination of the fact that there actually is an upper limit of what can be loaded onto the Go CT card. I believe it's $500, and so unfortunately, once you get to that upper limit, it just doesn't accept any more money onto the card. I don't think that's something that we foresaw when we implemented this, because we never imagined that bus service would be free for a year, you know, so, yeah, that's something we need to work out.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, I just want to ask about just kind of like interstate cooperation. I mean, Connecticut's kind of unique, just location-wise. So you mentioned the trips to New York, the bus that you have, the rail that goes to Springfield. In terms of participation, are any of these programs restricted to people who live in Connecticut only?
Mine is, yes.
I don't, anybody can ride the bus.
Right.
I think the only issue, I think the only bus route we have that travels out of Connecticut is the I-bus in Stamford. That goes from Stamford to White Plains. And I believe that one is free. But yeah, we don't really, if you're on a bus, it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah, I think it would be
I think
more
it's-
like, even like carpooling, if someone needed a carpool ride home, I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem, but it caps at 200 anyway, if you're leaving the state, because there's a lot of people out in Stamford, you know, a lot of people take the train that way, and, you know, they might want to take,
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people in Western Massachusetts that work in Connecticut.
Mhm.
So I don't know, something to consider maybe
Yeah.
when you think about your programs, opening it up for people who work in Connecticut but may live in another state.
yeah. You know what, and that's true. I'll find out what I know that it's a Connecticut-based program, but I will find out more, like, if they live in Mass and they're here, yeah.
Right,
Especially those bordering towns like Springfield.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the emissions and the traffic benefits of including neighboring
train.
states, right?
so many people take the train in from New York and Stamford.
And if you work in Connecticut, you pay Connecticut taxes.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
It
Yeah.
really should be something
I'm
available
sure-
to people who
I'm
work
sure
in
it- yeah.
Connecticut.
Yeah,
not
that's
just
true.
live in-
Yeah, your employer is here, so that makes sense, sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah. Yes.
As far as like elderly and disabled, and number one, do they get discounts, and what is your accessibility? Like I noticed on your surveys and stuff, it didn't really seem to address any needs for.
Oh, okay, yeah, so we offer a 50% discount for anybody who qualifies as a senior, which is over the age of 65, or is disabled. So you can do that by either showing the driver, well, when we start charging again, you can show the driver your Medicare card, or we actually offer it's a senior ADA paratransit card that you can apply for. It costs $10. You need to have a photograph and it needs to be signed off on by a doctor, but it actually gives you a card that never expires that you can use on all public transportation in Connecticut, so that's bus and rail, and they will give you 50% off.
So like on the shared ride thing, sometimes there may be special other needs and stuff, so you don't have anything on that. You know, the list you had put up with smokers and male and all that preference, nothing as far as other needs?
Well, I would say, you know, it's up to the person who they want to ride with, but if someone has special needs, maybe they might need a special kind of vehicle to be in. I
Just
don't
be
know
able
what
to
they
get
do.
into a larger as opposed to a
Right,
smaller.
and it's convenient for them, it's their choice, but a lot of times people who carpool, they want to switch off drivers, things like that. But sure, if someone is disabled, you know, absolutely, and they have someone they can drive with, sure, that counts too, you know, it's a carpool.
Right.
So.
And do you vet them in any way, or if for some reason there's a problem with somebody that is sharing a ride that has an issue, is there a way to identify
It's
issues?
up to the people who are driving with, so beforehand, no, not
Well, but
that I
you
know
become
of.
aware of somebody that has done something that
Sure,
is an
yeah,
issue.
that's a good point. That I'll have to get back to you on. I've not had that issue yet, but that's a very good point. We don't want, you know,
Right.
it's like anything, you want to check out who you're driving with. At this point, it's just, you choose someone yourself, you kind of vet them yourself, you talk to them, you see, well, I don't know, yes or no, you can try riding with them. If you're like, this isn't a good fit, you can just stop
But
it.
this is in a system though, right, that you can see?
Yes,
So if there
you
was
can
an
see.
issue, there'd probably be a way
Yeah.
to try to kick somebody out of the system
I
if there's
think
an issue.
that's, you know what, I'll mention that to my team. I think
Yeah.
that's a really good point, yeah.
Because you don't want
Them to
somebody
come-
that's gonna be
That's
causing
right.
problems.
No, that's great. I think that's great.
Should be able
Yeah.
to like give them reviews.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
this
true.
person doesn't stop talking, one star.
Yeah. And then my
I was thinking a
name,
little bit more severe than that.
I'll be like, why am I kicked out of the system? I talk too much. But no, I think that's great. You know, it's just, I hate to say it, it's like dating apps. I mean, you have to get verified.
Yeah.
You can use your license, you can use your face. The verification, that's great. We're always open to suggestions to making things better, easier to use, safety, of course. So let me know if anything, again, my card is there. And I think,
She had a question.
oh, I'm sorry.
I have one more. So on the carpooling, how does the money flow? Like who pays for the service?
It's up to the two people carpooling. Like we say, oh, well, we could use my car, we'll split the gas. Like it's a way to just like, oh, so instead of paying, I have a Corolla, so instead of paying $30 or $40, isn't that great? Like
I
a week
know.
on gas, so I'm not getting rid of it.
I haven't heard that in a while. $30 gas.
And plus with my Stop and Shop points, I got 90 cents off.
No
And I said,
way.
I told my friend, I said, I filled my tank for $29.11.
great.
She said, I haven't done that since high school. I said,
A lot of years.
where there's a will, there's a way. So anyway, but yes, it's really all up to the people. You know, if they're like, listen, I'm not comfortable driving in snow. Would you be the driver? Sure, I'll give you a little extra money, but it still won't be, you know, they're saving on wear and tear on their car. There's a lot of ways that you're saving. You're not going to be paying as much gas, even if you split the gas, stuff like that. So
So it's
yeah.
between the two people to work
It's
out?
between the two people or four or whoever you can get in a van pool, things like that, yes.
The van pools are, the vehicles are provided by CT Rides?
Enterprise rideshare. And we would have a meeting if someone wanted to do that. We typically have a meeting with their company and the company that's looking to set up
So
some
if
van
the
pool.
Patrick wants to start a van pool
Sure.
from Western Massachusetts, he can
Absolutely.
work with you guys to find other riders.
Yes, and they'll tell you like insurance and how, you know, who keeps the car, the van, and all the details. It's a lot, actually.
PatsVans.com.
Yeah.
I'm
They're
on it.
beautiful too, the enterprise vans. I was like,
That sounds like a
"Oh,
side
I
hustle."
picture."
That's right.
Yeah. I'm so happy with all the questions. I'm so sorry I couldn't answer absolutely all of them, but I will get back to you for
And-
sure.
Yeah, and on a final note, I actually have a crate full of schedules, so if any of you are thinking of taking the bus or just want an updated schedule, I have a bunch of them on hand if you'd like to come see me afterwards, I can give you one.
Maybe leave them here. Yeah.
Yeah, or I could leave some here, spread the.
Stocking stuffers.
There's your stuff there, right there. I'm gonna fill those all in the schedules.
Is the Dash bus part of that?
Yes, so the Dash bus is a free circulator bus that goes through downtown Hartford. We have it currently suspended because nobody's been riding it, and it's kind of just to save money. But we are starting it back up in January. So I believe January 3rd it restarts. It's going to be Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And from here, I think the closest stop is
So
the
I
Times Building.
would take it right in front of my building, which is 280 Trumbull Street, right
Okay.
in front, and then to come to the convention center, because I didn't want to walk in heels.
Yeah, yeah. So it's starting back up
That's
January,
great, though.
I think January 2nd or January 3rd.
Yeah.
So we're starting it back up, so.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much. Well, have a wonderful holiday, everybody.
Thank you.